we're going to talk about the X32 that we have in here, which we're using for Pixaleen, and but we'll also talk about how we'd use it if we're going to use it for Tina Marks and the Millionaires, because it's a little different because we're using John's tops, right? Remember that? So we'll talk about all that. We're going to start from like the microphone and work our way to the speaker. That's the plan.
And are John's tops powered?
His tops are powered, but that's the speaker, so we'll talk about that a little bit. So we've got this mixer here. This is, and I'm talking about this just to illustrate the difference between this and this. This is analog, this is digital. Well, besides that, this has 16 channels. And what do you have with the channel? You have a 16 channel mixer and 16 preamps. You got all the EQ and whatever, aux ins, it's all right there. All right there. And so you never think about, oh, the preamp is something else somewhere else. Right? Could be somewhere else. No, because then you keep it simple. Just have a column there, everything is there. That's not the case here. The whole paradigm with this thing is a different beast. And so I just wanted to point that out, because if you start talking about how this works, yeah, then it's like, why is it so complicated? But this is what we're used to, and we're going to illustrate the difference.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you buy, in the analog mixer, can you bypass the preamp with a line level signal? If you have a line level signal?
Well, I don't really know, but you might. I think you're suggesting, can I put it in the insert? Is that what you're thinking?
No, I'm just asking.
You might be able to do it if you put it in the insert, but usually what you do, if you had an outboard preamp, like say a Neve preamp, you'd get your super singer go through the Neve would come out with,
I mean,
how you'd probably put it in the line input here.
That's what I'm asking. The line input
what you do.
Bypasses the preamp.
It doesn't bypass the preamp, you just turn the gain down. Turn, in this case, the trim down.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's this. All right. Now we're going to start talking about this, and we're going to talk about how we're managing the cables, and we're going to talk about all the other complicated stuff on the inputs, and complicated stuff on the outputs. And one reason why I'm talking about it, since we did the gig for Pixaleen, there's a lot of changes. Number one, you haven't seen this before.
No, it's extended.
I extended it. Yeah. This is about 100 rivets in here. All right, so what's the first thing we're going to do when we get to the gig with this? First thing we're going to do is, Lamont, can you carry that son of a bitch in?
That's right.
Right? Okay, but once it gets in, what's the first thing we're going to do, would you guys say?
Well, you're gonna take both the sides off.
We're going to look at the power first.
Yeah.
Where does this go on the stage and where's the power? All right, so let's take, this side's the power, this side with the black is most of the inputs. So I'll have one of you guys take this lid off. Here.
How about both of us do it?
Okay?
This one right here?
Yeah.
By the way, the black is fine.
Okay, don't move it too far, but go ahead.
Is there a hinge up there?
Yeah, but you gotta bend them out of the way. Okay, now notice that I've got a cable hanging here. So we have these clotheslines in here. And notice it's labeled. It says Furman on it. Roy, you know how we were looking like which cable's which? All the power cables, every cable has a label on it now.
Good.
Okay, now,
These are good logos too.
that, because I'm working on it, I don't have everything hanging, but this would be hanging on that clothesline. This is what I'm calling it, clothesline. Notice it's tight now.
Yeah.
It was loosey-goosey before, now it's tight. I figured out how to do that.
Good.
Okay.
So that'll make the lid a little awkward, right?
Yeah, but it's not too bad because we don't have too much back here. Okay, these are the drums. Mike, so we'll come back and talk about that in a bit. So we need this because we want to plug this in so we can see some stuff.
So is the Furman the only power that you need to plug in from this case?
That's a good question. And the answer is, the Furman is 90% of it. But what I wanted to do is not plug in, you know what the Furman is, right? No, the power strip.
Oh, it's a power strip?
Yeah, it has a surge protector in it. And
It's
rack
conditioned power.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so everything in here is powered for the Furman except for the subwoofer power amp. Because
It's too much, draws too much.
it's high current.
Yeah, it draws
So
too
don't
much.
pull it from the Furman, it might overheat or something.
Yeah.
So since it's high current, you know, we won't.
And
We'll run it off the
a
Furman.
power amp probably isn't as sensitive to fluctuations.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, that might be true, but it kind of doesn't matter. You know, you don't want to have a crash at the gig because the Furman overloaded. I've done that before. I used to have that power amp and the twin plugged into there, and I've had it overheat at gigs before. All right, this is powered up, so we'll come back to the back. Now let's talk about the front. So you might as well take out the front. So we're twisting it around here just so that we have something for the video. Okay. All right. What? We probably spent an hour and a half plugging stuff in and getting it wrong and
Getting it wrong, getting it right.
getting it right, and we didn't get it all right. I could tell because
Yeah,
I looked at the.
and never being sure.
Yeah.
I did the multi-track later, and so like Keenan says, I can't hear my guitar. She looks like I'm playing, but I can't hear anything. It's because we ended up actually putting the bouzouki in to where the acoustic guitar should have been.
Oh my God.
I don't know how we did that.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
There's so many cables involved. I thought we retraced it properly too, but no, we plugged it in just in the wrong spot. So
Right, and you're an expert. We're all experts, but there's too much of it. It's too easy to make a mistake. Does it go to the DI? Which DI does it go into? Does it actually plug in straight ahead? You're never going to get it all right. You're going to have to debug something. So what I want to do is eliminate all the thinking. Let you be thinking about the mix at the gig and the sound check, not where the hell does this go. Pull that cable. Is that this cable? You know, all that debugging. I think this black thing is going to save 90 minutes. So I put the clothesline in here, and sure enough, I could hang all the cables.
good.
But I couldn't put the lid on if they were plugged in, so I had to unplug them all. You know, so I almost got there. So I said, I'm going to make an extender. So my thought is this is going to stay on with this set of latches, and you just take this off. So why don't you take this lid off?
Yeah, that's good.
Have you patented this yet?
He's gonna have to.
It's one of these patents where when you get the information on how to do it, you say, thank you very much, I'll never do that. You take it off slow.
Because it has a little
Yeah, so,
word guy at the bottom.
okay, I got it here. Okay. So what I did is I put the snakes on this clothesline, and I put another clothesline in here. Look here, Lamont.
Nice.
They're all there. They're all plugged in, every one of them, and they're
Oh, wow.
all labeled.
All right.
What do you think about that?
Wow, that is definitely gonna
It'll
save.
cut an hour and a half.
It's pro.
That's really good.
I don't know how pro it is. Maybe
No, it's
I don't know if
pro.
pros do this, but I swear to God, it's going to cut an hour and a
Legit,
half.
bro. This
Well,
is,
don't you think?
yeah, this is legit.
Okay, yeah. I
This is
mean,
really cool.
and that's every cable, including the monitor cables.
That's some
Okay.
stuff, isn't it?
And there's some magic on the back too. All right, now, once these cables come off there, then you could see the screen, right? If you need to, but for the most part, you don't need to, right? Okay, so this is turned on, and just in case somebody else looks, you know, there's a Wi-Fi here plugged in to the Ethernet port on the X32. And I'm going to say X32 versus slave. We'll talk about the slave in a second. On the labeling, one of the things I did on this labeling, all right, this one says the mini keyboard. Okay? It also says 1516. That's where you're going to see it on the mixer. So you know, you plug it in, you already know where to look through on the iPad. But it also tells you where it plugs in, and it says this uses a DI. It uses DI number 1 because there's 2 DIs in there.
Yeah.
And guess what? The numbering on the DI is not the same number that's on the mixer. So this says this is stereo, so it's 1516 on the digital mixer, but it's the first DI and it's input 7 and 8 on the first DI. And
So it's channel 15 and 16
when you're looking at the iPad,
when you're looking at the
and that's
user
why it says
interface.
15, 16.
But it's 7 and 8 on the master.
on the where do you plug it into? You plug it into the first DI, but you don't have to do it. But if some reason it got unplugged,
That's where it goes.
yeah, or maybe maybe you don't see it and you say, oh, maybe that DI got
So
unplugged. It's turned off.
the DI is in the case.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we'll take a look at that when we talk about DI. But, you know, how does the DI get there? The DI has to plug into the mixer, and this plugs, I call the master X32 slave 1 with this notation, and the real slave 2. I'll talk about that more when I get to it. Okay,
I'm still mildly confused. You're plugging this into a stereo.
the keyboard is stereo,
Yeah.
right? That's that little bitty
Or
keyboard
you're plugging this into a stereo jack
on that little keyboard.
on that little keyboard. It's coming in here to 2 separate DIs,
Correct.
and then the outputs of the DIs are going to 7 and 8.
This helps because I've seen this like actually before he put it into here. Because like usually he'd take that keyboard and it would be split into 2 DIs,
Yeah.
right? And then we would have it
Yeah.
running. So
What it's doing is, it's 1516 on the mixer, that's where you're going to see it, but it's, the other end of this cable is plugged into DI number 1, which is the master X32, channels 7 and 8 of the DI. But then the DI plugs into the X32 15 and 16. It's complicated enough.
Yeah.
It's like only I can figure it out semi-real time, and I'll make a mistake about
So
you know, 1 out of 5
So
plugins.
that slave notation is not the extra box that you got for the X32. That's the slave on the original X32.
Well, let me get into that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we talked about this thing. 16 channels. Every channel has a preamp, right? That's normal. This is what we're used to. That's not what this thing is. What they did is they separated the preamp virtually. And so there are some preamps inside or elsewhere, and then there's the mixer. And so the paradigm, the way to think of it, if you didn't have the rack mount version, you got the one with the faders, physical faders, what you would do is you'd put the mixer out in the audience front of house, and you'd run an Ethernet cable to the stage. And you'd hook up slave boxes, and the microphones would plug into the slave boxes on the stage, and Ethernet back to the mixer. And the guy would sit there and he could run the faders in the normal way, but it also has outputs on those slave boxes, so you could do all the monitors in the PA without running XLRs a 1/4 inch everywhere. It's way different paradigm than this. Okay, so he said, well, okay, I can understand that. The X32 is a mixer, and the preamps are somewhere else on Ethernet. Except that the X32 has 16 channels of preamp.
And
But it's a 32 channel mixer.
so it has 16 preamped and 16 non.
Yeah, so
32, right?
that's weird. Go ahead.
And are the 16 channels that have preamps associated with them, are the preamps physically associated with the first 16, or can be?
I'm going to tell you how that works in a minute.
Okay.
That's very good. So if you want to start with a mixer, it's a 32 channel mixer, and then it has 8 auxes too. So it's really like 40 channels.
Aux ins.
Aux ins. And we're talking about inputs.
Yeah.
So it has 32 in and 8 aux in. So it has 40 altogether. But there's not a place to plug all 40 things in. You can only plug in 16 in. It has 16 XLR ins. And then it has miscellaneous jacks like RCA. So like for when we play the CD to test the PA, that's going into RCA.
Yeah.
For the aux. Okay. So the question is, where do you get the other 16? Like I said, the paradigm that they really invented is you put the physical fader hardware out in the audience. That's the real X32, and you don't worry about preamps there. You use the preamps that are on stage on slave boxes. You could have a whole ton of slave boxes, all coming into a small number of Ethernet cables. It's pretty cool. But when they combine it and they put some of the preamps in the X32 box, but not all of them, that's where it counters your intuition.
It's different.
And that's why this notation, when I notate it, it looks complicated. So if we look over, it sounds complicated. If we look at here,
Right.
and what I'll do in the video, I'll just put a picture there. There's the X32. And its inputs are in the back. And its outputs are in the front.
Oh, Lord.
That's fine. I don't care too much. All right. And then underneath it, right here, is the slave. And it has another 16 in. But its inputs are in the front. And its outputs are in the front too. So its ins and outs on the slave are in the front. And the X32 is the opposite. Can you see it, Roy? Yeah. Okay, so why do we care? Well, you don't really care if you don't mind a rat's nest. But you care when you're wiring stuff, and it's like the DI is, the output of the DI is in the back, but the input you want to plug into is over in the front. That's a nuisance. So, yeah, you run into that kind of stuff. Okay, so to just kind of review, we have 32 inputs on the mixer. 16 XLRs are part of the X32 itself, and the other 16 are part of the slave. And there's a little short, high-speed, special Ethernet that goes between the two. And
So like connects them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And so what do you get? What do you get with the slave? 16 more ins, 8 more outs.
And that's what
And what about preamps on the slave?
It's just the same. Just the same as the X30, what are on the X32. That's what you get. You got the inputs. The preamps are with the slave. The data comes to the digital mixer.
through the Ethernet.
To the Ethernet.
Yeah. I understand.
Are there any questions?
Well,
That explains why you're okay. I see it. Sorry. Go ahead.
so again, when you say the preamps are with the slave, you're talking about the second box.
The second box, the additional 16 preamps are in the slave box.
But the first 16 come from the master.
Correct.
Okay, so each box has 16 preamps.
Correct.
Okay.
And 8 outputs.
And 8 outputs, and the master has 8 aux inputs,
The additional 8.
and the slave has no aux inputs.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'd look, but there's too many wires
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
And the master has a total of 32, but 16 of those are inputs. 16 of those are preamp. Right.
Well, so I don't think we should spend too much time on this next part, but but let me show it to you. The amazing thing about this, and what adds to the incredible complexity of this until you know it, is this can work any way you want. So for example, you, this is listening. Okay, now I'll just say this as long as it's not working. So you got, when you use this, you have to make sure that you're
Connected to that
your Wi-Fi is the marble room. So there it is, recording studio marble room. I'm selecting that, and then when I go to the X32 app, it's 192.168.2.2.
Sounds local.
It sounds basic, yeah.
Yeah, for that Wi-Fi, and it connected, so now it's working. Okay. There's a bunch of this stuff that's we're going to configure, probably already configured ahead of time. But like when we did the TNA gig, some of the
Horns?
Let me try to say, the auxes for monitors were not actually routed like we thought. Like you make the assumption, for example, that the 8 outputs are going to be 1 through 8. And when we hook up the slave, those 8 outputs would be 9 through 16. Not necessarily. Yeah, and so I'm going to show you how you do this, and I'll just put it on the overlay on the video. But on the app, you go to routing, way up at the top. And that's what that looks like. Don't do that at a gig. Last thing you want to do is change the routing, and it has to debug that.
So give us an example of what one of those entries
just
means.
go through it. It says I'm going to go to inputs first. As soon as I figure out how. Let's see, card out, P60.
So it's better we're doing this now than in front of the gig.
Okay, it's home. The inputs are on home. Yeah, let's just say the input, they said home. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Roy's done a lot of UI design. You may have done some of that stuff too. It's like, all right, so when you go to the routing, I'll call it a tab way up at the top near the right. When that comes up, it's got a bunch of tabs here. Hit home. When you hit home, it says inputs 1 through 8. Where do they come from? You see how many options there are? It can come from anywhere you want, but it says local 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Come from the X32 preamps, but it would have to. This AES, what's AES stand for? It's like Analog Engineering Society or something like that.
Right?
Yeah, it's like double E, triple E standard. It's a standard.
Okay, that's
triple
cool.
E.
Okay, and so look how about you can have these slave boxes all over the place. If you're doing Red Rocks or something,
You could really have something set up.
you could do something crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to use those local preamps in the box, particularly if you have one of the hardware kind with the faders. Put that in the audience, you make all the inputs on stage.
Yeah, because the other boxes are feeding the X32
Digital.
brains.
The mixer part.
Digitally supplying the sound, the audio stream for each channel.
Right, and maybe another
from
way to
wherever
say
you
that,
want.
it's you got the mixer, and then I said you got the preamp. It's actually the preamp and the analog to digital converter,
Yeah.
right? So it turns into digital, and it could go anywhere you want on the Ethernet, and there's no clock. It somehow works out.
And it's
All right.
tagged.
All right, so inputs 9 through 16, local 9 through 16, exactly how you think.
So this is still on the master.
Right, that's correct. And this is input 17 through 24. It says AES 50A 1 through 8. AES is the Ethernet. There's 2 of them. There's an A and there's a B. And so it says something's connected to the A Ethernet. I'm going to grab 9 through 16 from whatever that is, if it's there. I only have one slave, so there's no B slave. And then it says inputs 25 through 32. It says AES 50A 9 through 16. So we're already got two sets of numbers. We're going to 32, but it's actually 16 on the slave, right?
So channel 1 on the slave is channel 17.
Right, right.
The way you have it configured. Yeah.
Okay? And look at this, it says aux in. It says aux in. The aux in.
Those 8 channels.
Yeah, yeah. So wouldn't have to be. Wouldn't have to be. Okay, now, let's see, there's aux outs too. I'm not using any aux outs, so I don't need to worry about that. There's also like a sound man input. I'm not using that either, but we could extend that later. Okay, so let's go to analog out. Here's our outputs, 1 through 8. And if you touch each one, it says, what is it? So it has a label, output 1, that says, teen is in here. Like, wow, thank you for telling me what it is. And then it says, well, what kind of output is it? It's a mix bus output. And you know, there's some other things
So
here.
when it says output 1, it means a physical. Is that a physical thing connected?
Yes, so this is going from the physical out to the virtual signal. It's like the opposite of the way you think. You think with start with the virtual signal, work your way to output, but it's going backwards. Yeah, so what comes out, output 1, will be T is in here, and that's from the mix bus. Which one? Mix bus 1. Right there.
And
This
mix
is
bus 1, a label you made?
No, that's because that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And now, should it be pre-fader or post-fader?
Oh, I don't know.
Pre-fader.
Has to be pre-fader because if Lamont turns the volume down, it'll turn it down in her ears like it did at the gig. All monitors must be pre-fader. All right. And it is, and it was. And it says pre-fader right there.
Well, there it is.
Yeah. Now, in complicated situations, you could dial in a delay on there if you want. Like if you have stage speakers, right, on the balcony and on the main floor, you could do time analysis and use this to get them in phase, timeline. This thing, you can do complicated things. We don't care about that. Okay, so
certainly
as you
don't.
can imagine, outputs 1 through, I'm going to go next to 4. It says unused. I think that's unused. But look, it's the same thing, it says pre-fader. Okay, if I go to output 8, it says main right. Output 8 is main right. That's what goes to John's speaker on the right. We're always talking about left and right from the sound man's perspective. So you don't want to have to invert while you're working. It says on the right, well that's on the right. Okay.
Stage left.
Stage left. Yeah, so output 8 is main right, and it doesn't say it's a mix bus, it says it's a main. See, it says left, right, or center. We'll talk about that in a second.
No way. Yeah.
And it says, what's the signal? It's main right, and it's post fader. When you're mixing to the audience, that has to be post fader.
Of course.
Or else you run the fader and it doesn't do anything.
Yep.
All right? And if I go to 7, same thing, except it's main left, post fader. And then if I go to 6,
Let me
same
go center.
thing. But it's not right, it's the center.
Center.
There's 3 outputs here. There's a left and a right, and the pan, you can pan, and then there's a center. And so, actually, per John's recommendation, we only run the kick drum through there. Maybe his bass, when he heard it, the gig said, can I run my bass through there?
The
Yeah.
subwoofer.
Yeah. A lot of sound men do that. They do that because somebody makes a mistake and pulls a cable and it puts 10,000 watts to the subwoofer because they tripped over the DI or something.
Sure.
Oh, I
Right.
would never do that.
Yeah. Roy's actually an expert in that. Yeah. So you say, I'll only let the things that really need the subwoofer get routed to the subwoofer. And it sounded pretty cool. Did you listen to it when we fired up the CD?
Yeah.
We brought up the mains left and right. That sounded pretty good with John's speaker, and then we brought up the center. You put in the amount that you want. It was fantastic.
It wouldn't do any good to run the piccolo through the subwoofer.
Yeah.
Piccolo.
Yeah. That's another dad joke.
No, that's a musician dad joke.
Yeah. Should I cut that out of the video?
No. Not without me signing a release.
All right. I think that's the main thing here. This is a bitch. I worked it out, but I guess there's a little bit more. It has some virtual outputs too. So it, like I said, the mixer is a 32 channel plus 8, but not necessarily 32 preamps. It also has 16 ounce, but only 8 physical on the X32. The other are coming from the slave. And so that if I go to, like, say, output 9, that's the bass monitor, mix bus again.
Better be pre-fader.
It is pre-fader, but it wasn't at the gig. So what happened when we fixed my guitar, when Lamont or me, whoever did it, brought down the DCA, which you haven't talked to here, it took down the fader on the Eon speakers, and
What you're using as a monitor.
and it went down on the stage, not just through the mains, because it was post fader. That was an accident I had. Because you could figure that, unlike this, if you look at this mixer, here's a channel here, right here. If I want this channel to be pre-fader, I press this button, and if I leave it out, it's post-fader. It's on a per channel basis. But this thing, this pre-fader, post-fader, is done in the routing for the output, not for each channel. So they've broken the paradigm in here. I think their paradigm is better.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, you have an output. If it's a monitor, it has to be pre-fader. You never want a post-fader. So
Let me make sure I understand though about your Eons. You're using your Eons as a monitor for your guitar and your keyboards,
yeah, any instrument that I'm playing goes through the Eon
but you're using it as a monitor.
instrument monitor.
Instrument
I also
monitor.
have a triangle monitor, a
Yeah,
wedge on
yeah,
the floor. And let's look at that actually. So I think I'm 11 and 12. I go to 11 here. It says Eon left.
This is the output.
Eon left. It says mix bus 11, pre-fader, but it was post-fader at the gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fixed it here. I woke up the next day. I knew, like we
Yeah,
talked.
you literally, you called it. You texted me at 2
Right.
a.m.
Yeah,
You had a dream.
He had a dream.
yeah. Okay, and output 12, Eon right, mix bus 12, pre-fader. So we fixed that problem. Okay. Now if I go backwards, what about output 10? It says AW monitor, my vocal monitor.
Which is your little wedge.
Yeah, so how much do I want to hear through that? So typically somebody on stage just has just the wedges, and you call it good. But you have a guitar amp, right? But because the keyboards can go right in to the mixer, through the DI, and because I'm using the Helix, I don't really need an amp, because it's an amp modeler. It goes right in, comes back out to the Eons,
In the morning.
and it sounded pretty good once I got it working. You think that's-
And also it was feeding the mains.
Yep.
Right.
yeah, everything's
It's
going to
gotta
feed
go
the
through it.
mains. That's normal, but the fact that I can play and I don't have a real guitar amp on stage, and I don't want to bring a keyboard amp.
That's good because that gives us more control over it anyway. So.
Well, I mean, I could bring a Fender Twin for the guitar, right, and a bunch of pedal boards. I could bring a different amp for the keyboards, and then we could put mics on it or something like that. That would take a long time to set up. You just hook the Helix in there.
Wouldn't sound any better.
No, it's not the same.
No.
Yeah, in theory, it sounds the same. It's probably not as good as the analog stuff, but but that's not what you want.
That's bias.
For a live gig, nobody's
It's
gonna.
not. It's not
nobody's
really
gonna-
nice because I got the analog stuff over there.
I know
I
you
could do either
I
one.
helped you set it up like 100
Yeah,
times.
but that takes me an hour and a half to set up all
yes,
those
it does.
pedals.
Yeah, unless you
Yeah.
plug them in already.
Okay, so I think that's the main thing with this. It actually has some weird things too. It has a card out You could do like the card. Like there's a band I heard locally, and I said, wait a minute, you guys are using X32? Yeah. And they said, oh, we're playing the tracks. You're playing the tracks? And they pull up the song somehow on the X32. I said, well, what's on these tracks? Well, extra horns. But see, the drummer's going to have headphones so they can keep with it. So you can do that stuff on here if that's your thing.
That's right, yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd had to experiment with it, but of course, this makes a lot of it easier. Cool. I like
So this is all the input. So now, it only lets you see 8 channels, so let's talk about doing that. If I go home here and here's channel 1 through 8, 16, 24, 32, this shows me all the channels. Well, the first 8 are drums. You don't want to keep going back and forth. Okay, I'm going to go to Tina's, the ukulele there. I'm going to go to Stephanie's vocal here. I'm going to go back over here, turn the curse while down. It's a pain in the neck to mix that way. If you had a big iPad that would show you all 32, then you could just see it, but you can't see it. So you got to simplify mixing. So if I go to a channel, let's go to the curse while here. Oh, thank you. There's a section down here in the lower left that says, what DCA am I a member of? You could be a member of more than one, but I made it 4. And so you can now have one slider with the DCAs. It breaks down all my keyboards. And so if I go over here to DCAs, there we go. So AW guitars, AW keys. So you got 2 faders and you could kind of manage Anthony.
So DCA for the drums.
I put drums and bass on this DCA.
Drums and bass.
On one. Okay.
Vocals are 2.
Drums and bass are together.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say I don't like that. But we only have 8. So I got the girls, I call it girls string. So the bouzouki and the ukulele, the acoustic guitar, and Tina's electric guitar.
Well, we could still go and itemize the kick from the bass. Yeah. Okay.
You have to know. You have to get. You have to go to the channels.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking when you get the bass and the drums where you want them, they're probably going to track if they're playing.
Most likely.
Yeah, and so you could just put if it's more intense rock, you can turn that up a little bit or down, whatever you need to do. They probably are both too loud or too
up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But my guitars are all over the place volume-wise because every time I press a button, it's distortion or it's flange or it's it's the Telecaster. The volume of the guitar I'm trying to manage on stage, and I have a volume pedal too. It's more likely to be out of control. So you're better off having a knob for Anthony
for guitar.
For guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's out of control, and then a different one for keyboards because they don't relate. Okay. All right, and then
But it's both. But it's
reverb and echo.
It's a DCA for both of your keyboards.
Correct. Yeah, and this could be made if you guys have a different paradigm that you think would be better. We can make these DCAs anything we want.
Yeah.
But that's how it currently works. And when you're all set up, you're about to do a sound check, or maybe during the sound check, it's sounding pretty good. So a lot of times I'll click meters here, and I can see all the outputs at once. And if someone says, "How come my guitar doesn't? How come the ukulele doesn't work?" You can look here and see if.
Can you tap on it and go to it?
I don't think so. Yeah, but you can see if the signal's coming out of the ukulele. Here's a
figure where the feedback's coming from.
Like here's the channel. Here you can see the inputs, all the inputs here. If you see a signal from the ukulele, it's not the ukulele or the cable going in, because it must be something going out. So I don't hear it in my in-ear. Well, you could go to the Bixbus.
How'd you get to that page? It's the
meters.
Meters.
Yeah. Or you could go to ins and outs. These are the actual inputs and outputs. You can see what's coming in, and you can see here's 16 outputs. Oh, there's another.
There's hypnotized this fly.
Look at this. This is actually 32 outs. So if you bought more slaves, you could have
You
even
could
more
have more-
outs.
That's what you were saying earlier. It's you see 32 on there, but it's not actually 32.
Yeah, we're only going up to 16. But anyway, you could see if like for example, let's say Tina said, let's see if you can debug this. I played my guitar, I don't hear it in my headset. I knew this was going to be a problem at this gauge, right?
I'll check
So-
to make sure that her input has signal.
So, yeah, so see if she's had an input, you go over here. Yeah, I see her acoustic guitars coming in.
Okay.
And then you go over
Check the
here
monitor.
to the mix bus. I can see it's going to her, she's mix bus 1, I can see it's coming to mix bus 1. So, you know, but she could have done her mix and messed it up. So
Make sure
it's
stuff-
coming to mix bus 1. So maybe it's not going to the output. So I can go to the output and I can see, oh, it's there on output 1, but she still can't hear it. What do you think is the problem?
She's got it turned down, or it's set to pre-fader.
Could be her in-ears,
Yeah,
receivers turned
yeah,
off.
yeah, that would be my first guess. Something's
Or-
wrong with her in-ears.
If you can look here, the top, near the, it actually is the top, that is the,
Transmitter.
well, that is the for transmitter for the in-ears there.
Yep.
Maybe it got unplugged.
Sure.
Maybe someone flipped the switch with the rest of the cables and actually turned off the transmitter.
Yeah.
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 So this is how you can debug it without so much scratching your head. Well, maybe.
Yeah, it
maybe.
just-
What did you do again? Maybe.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah,
That scenario makes sense.
Yeah,
Too.
you trace it. You
Yeah.
trace the signal.
Is it here? Is it there? No.
But the beauty is
Follow-
you can trace it.
Yeah.
You could trace it sitting in a chair in the audience.
Yeah. we
Follow,
just talked
follow
about
the signal instead of follow the money. Follow the signal.
You could follow the signal without following the wires.
Correct.
That's pretty cool. All right. I think that's everything on the input. Did I miss anything?
So I wanna understand.
I hope the video's still going.
He
Well,
stopped, he stopped it halfway through.
if it isn't going, I don't have to edit anything. You
Well,
see-
there's a big red thing you want me to
Is it,
put in?
no, is the number counting?
I can't read. I don't see
Yeah,
it.
that's recording.
Yeah, it's going.
Okay, all right, cool. I won't.
So the monitor mixes,
Yeah?
so to speak, are all done with these mixed buses,
Yes.
and they all need to be pre-fader.
Right.
And Tina's monitor mix, which is mix bus 1, is there some way we can label mix bus 1 as Tina
It's labeled
on the
on
UI?
some of the pages.
On the UI.
That's a good question. So if I go to the buses, there's two, major tabs here. If I go to bus 1 here, here's bus 1 through 8, and it says Tina in ear. But you have to click on the bus to do that,
Yeah.
to get to see the label.
So, but what I want to see is what is feeding the mix bus 1. So either I know mix bus 1 is Tina, or I see that it says Tina. How do I get to the place? Is it a DCA?
So let me see if I can ask that question. I got Tina, let's say it's Tina's vocal. I got her vocal here. I can hear it through the mains. Her microphone's working, however it works. How does it get to her in-ear? Okay, well, we know that it's mix bus 1, we think. How in the world does that happen? Well, one thing we could do, we could go find her vocal. It's right here, channel 27. I click on it, and then it says sends. So I can click on the send tab, and it shows me how everything she's sending of her vocal
To mix bus 1.
to all buses.
To all
It's got
buses.
1 through 16. But so I'm gonna state it. One microphone. Where does that one microphone go to the 16 buses?
16 mix buses?
Well, the last 4 are effects.
Okay, so there's 12 buses available that you
Yeah.
would consider mix buses.
Right.
Okay.
Eon left and right is 11 and 12, and then the last 4, these pink ones here, are effects.
Okay.
Okay, this, so
Oh, I see. I can see the 12. Okay.
you could do it this way, but let's say you wanted to get Tina's mix right. You'd have to go through every instrument and then look at this, next instrument, look at this, next instrument, right? You could do that like this with these little arrows down here. You could go to, there's John's, yeah, you could do that like that. That would work. That's not what you want. So if I click the home button, what I tell all the musicians, all of them, I said, when you fire up your iPad, you click sends on faders. Because I don't want Tina and Stephanie doing what you guys know how to do. I don't want them pressing pre-fader, post-fader, if it causes some train wreck that no one can figure out. But I want them to be able to do their own monitor mix.
Well, that's why I'm asking, where would they go, where would Tina go to see the mix bus one
Right.
faders?
Right. That's what I'm getting ready to tell you.
Yeah.
So Tina fires up her iPad, she clicks sends on faders, and she's been told, although you can't see it here, but it'd be nice if they would tell you, that her in-ear is 1. So you click the 1 there, and now this is what she hears.
Basically, we set that up for them. Make sure that we see
Yeah.
the lights
Yeah,
put on there. And then
so if
they
she
don't
wants to
have
say how much drums, this is only what she hears for drums. This is only what she hears for keyboards. Just Tina, because it's all.
So these are all DCAs?
No, this is mix 1.
Mix bus
Remember,
one.
all the monitor mixers have nothing to do with DCAs
Okay,
because we decouple them.
gotcha. Mix bus one.
Yeah,
They,
so
they
these are
shouldn't,
because
but
this
they
one is-
were, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the third bank,
You're going through the banks.
banks of 8. Here's the third bank of 8, ukulele and stuff. Here's the last bank. It's got vocals and some unused things. So this is really good for adjusting your monitor mix. And usually all you care about is like your acoustic guitar, your vocal, and turn everything else down and you forget about it. That's all you really care about it.
Yeah.
So this is good for doing that. So this is my one output, all the microphones. The other mode was one microphone, all the outputs. It'll operate in either way. This is probably the only way you want to work it. It's too complicated. But you could do it the other way if there was some reason
I would never choose that way.
Okay, so this is what happened at the gig. I'm going to go for it again. So it was kind of working when we started playing that first set, but my guitar wasn't very loud. I said, what's wrong with these eons? Is the power amp starting to go on this? Why is it so soft? So I would push down on my volume pedal, and then it was distorted. So like when we did that,
Singing in the Rain?
What's the name of that song? Under to your touch. Whatever. The Stephanie sang?
Yeah.
My guitar was distorted. Rather than da 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 doo doo, it was a. I'm thinking, why is that happening? Why would? But what happened was the DCA went down, which turned down the outputs 11 and 12, which are the eons.
Yeah, the eons.
I couldn't hear it, so I had to turn the volume pedal up, and then it's going through all these amplified virtual amps in there, just
Overdrive.
like now it's like I'm going through a Marshall, right?
Overdrive in a Marshall.
And then about halfway through the set, it disappeared altogether. Of course, John is looking like, I knew that was going to happen, you know.
He's right.
So then I unplugged the guitar from the Helix. I plug it into Tina's thing, but I can't see the knobs because it's all
Tina's
compact.
amp.
So I have her plug it in, and I'm adjusting knobs on it without being able to see it. I finally get a sound, and we keep on going. But now my guitar is being recorded on her electric guitar channel. And I know that because I did the mix. I unpacked the X32 memory card. Okay, so but here's something that is something we'll understand, but we might not think of it on our own. So we take a break. I get it working. I tell them on, don't touch those DCAs.
I know, he was like, you better not.
Don't touch the DCAs. And now the guitar, did you notice the guitar sounded really good then?
Yeah, but it's funny because I didn't even think I was.
Well, because you switched it from post to pre.
Yeah.
Well, you may have hit the mute.
Sure, but I did hit the mute once.
Yeah, that's why my guitar disappeared.
Yeah, but I didn't know that I was monitored.
Yeah, you didn't know. I didn't know either.
No, I know.
Because it was post.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what you're saying.
so here's the cascade thing that you wouldn't think of. I fixed it. Well, first of all, what did we do? Semi-sound check, if you want to call it that. We got our monitors okay. We played a little bit. You know, I adjusted mine. Mine were fine. I didn't adjust anything. Everybody adjusted stuff. You're helping John get rid of the buzz by lifting the ground,
Yep.
putting that on there so you remember.
Yep.
On the DI.
I think about it a lot too.
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay, so if John adjusts his mix, he adjusts the volume of his monitor, right? He adjusts how much guitar and everything else he wants. He's happy. When I fixed it during the break, wow, now the guitar works. I could hear the guitar. I was happy. Guess what? His monitor was post fader. And so now my guitar was 8 times louder in his monitor.
That's crazy.
It was louder in my monitor, it needed to be.
Yeah.
But it was also louder in his monitor. He said, "What
blown out.
did you hear what he said?
No.
The guitar's too loud!"
he
Right?
was right. If he would have said the guitar's too loud in my monitor, that would have been.
That would be
accurate.
Nobody can think like
Yeah.
that.
No, they say it's just too loud.
Okay, so I think that's all I'll talk about for monitors and inputs.
Sweet.
Okay, there's more to talk about though,
Okay.
just a little bit. We plugged in the power in the back. What else do we need to plug in?
Said the power amp.
Plug in the power for the power amp.
Okay.
What else?
Do you have a power supply and a UV, uninterruptible power supply?
No.
Anything like that? No.
Not power. What else we need to do?
Well, I mean, make sure everything's turned on.
Speaker outputs.
John got XLRs out to his 2 speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where you think those things plug in. Here's John's thing. Roy, where do I plug this in?
Well, those things look weird. They have a weird plug for them.
That's the speaker output. Those are called speak on.
Okay.
No,
But John is XLR.
Yeah.
So John plugged into the speaker over there. I'm playing in the band. John plugged the speaker in. Where does he plug into this thing? Because if you can't answer the question, he's going to come and ask me.
Well, it's got to be one of the outputs, I would presume, on the main X32.
Which one do you think?
The output, not the input?
This
It's
is
the
driving the
output
speaker.
of the-
Oh, it's a
It's
speaker.
driving the
Okay.
speaker. It's driving a powered speaker.
Got it.
So it's just an XLR cable.
And actually, we already talked about it. So
There's the 8 outputs, right?
if
So we just look
I
at the monitor or the app, see which one to plug them into.
Yeah, that's
and it's right here. I plug matrix main dash main. I don't use the matrix, but it shows me the subwoofer. It shows me the left right. All right, so he's left right. He's the left right. But what does that correspond to? Well, we saw it in the routing. When we go to the analog out, and we go to 7. 7 is main left.
well. If you don't know that ahead of time, you'd have to poke each one of them
Yeah.
to find.
But this is something worth
you could-
remembering. Now, if I go to the buses, it's actually labeled on the buses too. Subwoofer, left and right. So they take 3 of the buses. They consume 3 of the buses for the outputs.
Yeah,
Okay, so 7 and 8 is the mains. So that's 8 and that's 7. Where the hell are those outputs?
outputs. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Outputs.
7 and 8.
They're on the front, right?
No, they're not.
Really? Oh,
They're
that's
out.
a bummer.
Okay. But don't worry because this is really cool.
So wait. Why? I thought the outputs for the main X32 were on the front.
I know I said that, but the inputs and on the brain, they're both in the back. but on the
Oh, so we're
on
plugging
the
Slave.
on the slave,
Okay.
they're all in the front.
Okay.
No. So on the brain part, I thought you said
I know I did, but I misspoke.
they're all in the back.
They're all in the back.
Okay.
And on the slave, they're all in the
I
front.
think that's
Gotcha.
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's a little.
So this,
And the inputs are on the front too, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For the slave.
So you can say, hey, well, why don't you hook the slave at the back and hook it in backwards because it's a rack?
That'd be weird because you have a power cable that's hanging out.
It might be a good idea. It might not be. I'm not sure. Okay, but that's not what I did. So if I turn this around now,
You got it, bro.
yeah. I mean, we would never be doing this, right? We're only doing this for the video purposes. Okay. Here's X32, and the outs are right here in the top left.
They're labeled 1 through 8.
Okay.
See?
Okay. I don't really want John plugging that in. Why? Or anybody? Are you? Because if you do, you might bump something, and something.
You don't want yourself even plugging it in.
Right. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. We're all equal on this bus.
This is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Nice.
All right.
That was good. That's good.
So let's come back to that. This left-right. We also have the subwoofer output. It's also XLR. Roy, where's that? Where's the
So
two from?
we're for output.
I have an output on the X32 that's going to go to
We've got to go to the,
the power amp to drive the subwoofers because that's passive.
Yeah, it's very passive.
Okay, what output is that?
Passive resistance.
Do you know what output it is?
Probably passive 8 ohm resistance.
Yeah, but which output it is on the X32?
Well, 7 and 8, I would guess 6, but
It is 6.
but I would confirm it somehow.
Right, but it is 6 for all of your intuition.
Yeah.
So it goes out and it goes to the power amp. But we have 2 subwoofers. We got one over there, we got one over there. I could run into one side, it's a stereo power amp. I could run into one side of that power amp, and that would drive one speaker. If I want to drive them both, I got to take these banana plugs and put them together. Okay?
In parallel.
In parallel, I got to make sure I get the ground tab on the same thing, or else the subwoofers will be out of phase with each other.
Which you would never notice because they're such low frequency.
You would notice. You would notice.
Well, it's the
actually.
high frequency that you wouldn't
I
know.
don't know. As you get older, you lose high and low. So
How would you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what our audience was like
yeah,
at that gig.
it's true. 'Cause it's,
Okay. All right. So if I put them in parallel and I get the phase right, I cut the impedance in half. So the 8 ohms is now 4 ohms. So I got one side of the power amp doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got the other side of the power amp driving 4 ohms.
Yeah.
I would rather do one subwoofer on the left, one subwoofer.
You need a splitter.
So-
You need a splitter.
And so to address that issue,
I like how you looked. That's funny.
I made this thing.
That little input bar.
So this, I got this dingle dangling here, but I'm going to tell you why in a second. Here is output 6. See, it's an output.
Sure.
It goes here. And this runs it to 2 male XLRs.
Which are going to the power amp.
And here,
Oh, so there it is. Sub
and here's a 1 foot. So here's power amp, let's say left, and power amp right.
It's just a splitter, right?
But
It's a
where
parallel
are
order.
we going into?
It's coming X32 out 6 to here. It goes to these 2, and I can run into both sides of the power amp.
So, what do you mean by parallel?
I see how you have it running into the power amp, but
Well, it's a split. It's a splitter, right?
It's sort of a splitter, but it's not really. Yeah, I guess it's a splitter.
And
Depending
so-
on what you mean by splitter.
so
Yeah.
that, so
Splitter.
I mean splitter when I say splitter.
where would we where would we plug his speakers into then?
We're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
I'm going to stay on the subwoofer for a second.
You can't.
You don't have to do anything with this.
Can Can you leave that? You can't leave that plugged in.
Yes.
The case will go on.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, I solved that problem.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're making use of both channels of the power amp.
Right. That's good. It's going to be more reliable, etc. So that's good. But let's just stay on the subwoofer for a second. What about the outputs? Remember we had these big cables with the
Oh, the
banana plug on
speaker
one side and
cables.
the speaker
Yes.
on the other.
Yeah, the speaker cable.
Okay, so I was
Yeah,
talking about
speak on is the one you kind of push
Twist.
Yep.
and twist, and
And you gotta
the
do the same,
twist is
pull it
just
out.
locking it in place. So somebody,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yank it out. Yep.
and you don't, and you can fix it without solder at the gig. That's what they cool about speak-ons. They
Huh.
just screw down. Okay, I'll talk about this for a
Send
second.
it too.
One of these has power, like power strips and stuff, extension cords.
Yeah.
This other one has 1/4 inch stuff. So we
Okay,
get
yeah.
them, say, oh, I need another 1/4 inch. We're going to get it.
Yeah.
What we'd like to is I have to use either of those.
Yeah.
If we get by with that. Okay. This one has everything I need to make that damn keyboard work. Right? You know how complicated we were
Yeah.
looking at that. We're getting
All the
iPad
hardware,
complicated,
all the
setup,
hardware.
He's got,
the little stands.
yeah, he's got stands and,
you
the
know,
MIDI keyboard plug-in.
the USB to MIDI, all that stuff is in here.
Okay.
So, you know where it was on the way to the gate? It was just rolled around in
It
the
was,
back.
it was everywhere.
Yeah,
And then we
okay.
were like, where's the thing for it? And it was in there the whole
Okay.
time.
Are those boxes labeled?
They will be. Okay, this is what cables we likely need at the gate. This is the one you're probably going to open. That's the idea. Let's get rid of this damn thing. We don't need this.
And
Now, the problem with this thing,
we'll go out on a limb here and say the speaker cables for the subwoofers are in that box.
yes, but there's more to the story than just that. So, let me get this out of the way here. All right. I'll lay this junk on top here.
No, lay it on the side.
Okay, sorry.
Will we have all that stuff going to a gig laying on top of that, so we have screwdrivers and stuff?
Now you have to bring your own. Okay. Now, I wanted this speaker cable to hang in there. It always hung with Tina Marks and the Billionaires. But we were using this rack, it was bigger, and they would all fit in there. I couldn't get the lid closed. Okay, fine.
Well, and
I'll take it here. Here's one of them. It's got banana plug, it's got speak on.
Yep.
Okay, what I really want, hope I didn't break it. What I really want, I want to plug in that banana plug, get the phase right on the power amp, both of them, and have it plugged in like all this other stuff, so I solve all those problems.
ahead of time you want like a short,
I really need a short cable.
a short banana plug.
Okay, so I'm on stage left, John's on stage right. I'm going to take these two cables. I'm going to cut them at 1/3 and 2/3. So
So that this guy's always on your side.
yeah, and I can tie wrap the banana plug to the power amp, and it's only 1/3 the size of the cable. And then I'll put the rest of the cable in here. But wait a second, what am I doing with the cable that I cut off? What's your suggestion?
Well, wait. I didn't quite follow all that. You have two of those speak-ons.
I have two speak-on cables.
Okay.
Each cable is banana plug and a speak-on, and they're the same length.
Okay.
I'm going to make one of them 1/3 the length, and the other one 2/3 the length.
Okay.
That'll be the amount of cable that I'm trying to fit in there is half.
and you'll probably cut it, or wherever you cut it, you're going to have to splice in a new speak-on
Right.
or banana
I have
plug.
right here.
Okay.
Okay, but I've got something that you've never seen before.
But you were also asking, what do
I do with the cable that I'm not using? I'm
What do you have to-
losing 2/3 on this side, 1/3 over there. How do I keep from wasting it all? You got any suggestions?
Well, you make two more speaker
You
cables.
put an inline female speak on.
Oh, yes, so you have, in case you.
I've never seen one before.
Yeah, yeah.
I still haven't.
Yeah,
Let's
in
have a look.
in case you have to lengthen it
Yeah,
out.
so if we say, oh, the stage is bigger, I wish it was longer, you could grab either one of the things.
Or both.
The stuff that I take
Or
off.
both, it's an inclusive or.
So here's a female inline speak on.
Which is what's on the speakers.
This is what's on the speaker cable.
Yeah.
And then here
Yeah, so you can
are
have
more
That's cool.
speak-ons. Oh, and they got a little zipper on this one. And so, yeah, this is what I'll put on the cable, and then this will go in. If you need to make it longer, click. So now we'll be able to extend it from this box if we need to, but our default will be wrapped in there. That's the plan. So we don't need to worry about the power amp. It splits, so we get left and right, and the speaker cables
Or
will
hanging.
be wired and hanging. All I gotta do is roll this in and plug the power in.
So
Every
by-
cable is labeled.
So by removing effectively a whole speaker cable, because you
Right,
1/3 and 2/3, there's enough room to put one of them.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what I'm thinking. If that's not the case, I could just make them shorter.
So where would you plug in?
The speakers.
Yeah, where? The output? Where?
Well, it'll be already plugged into the power amp, just the speak on is dangling, it'll say right or left.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy will be in here. The banana plug will already be plugged in, and you just unwrap it, take the speak on
Yep.
subwoofer.
And because on this
You're gonna
side
have
it's
a few
1/3
little-
length,
Yeah.
it probably is just what you need.
Yeah.
If that was 2/3 length, so you could drag it behind the drums.
You're
So
gonna have
what-
two of each.
So
Right.
have you talked
Right,
about? Have
like
you?
we said.
So are you done with the subwoofers?
Well, I was gonna say that the excess that we cut off 2/3 on this
Yeah,
side, we cut off on 1/3. I'll
Yeah.
connector
You
them
make-
appropriately. If we need to extend something, we got a 1/3 length and a 2/3
Yeah,
length.
yeah.
We can do whatever we need to do.
It's an a speaker extension.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but we haven't talked yet. Are we done with subwoofers?
Yes.
So, but we haven't talked about John's tops.
Okay. And that's the last thing. John
John's.
needs 7 and 8, right? Output 7 and 8 on the brain. Okay, I can tell him that. I could write a document.
You could tell
Can't
me.
really label it.
You
I mean,
could
gotta
you could
give
tell
me-
me. You could tell me that. But one issue is I can bump something.
Yeah. So, what the plan is, this worked out well. I'm gonna put 2 more outputs, left and right there, with a little snake this long, and plug it in to 7 and 8. It'll just say left and right there, and I can label it.
Okay.
That'll be fantastic. You just, all the thinking's been done.
It'll be obvious. It'll be
Obvious.
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good UX. So if and when you were ever to do a Tina Marks and the Millionaires gig,
Good question.
you would have to use your high frequency stuff, mid-range and high frequency stuff.
Yes.
And that's, your speakers are all passive.
There's 2 kinds of Tina Marks for the Millionaires. There's like what we use with TNA, where we had these tri-amp boxes.
Yeah, monster.
That means 3 power amps on the left, 3 power amps on the
Yeah,
right.
monster.
You know, major.
Monster.
Yeah, I had 4 18-inch speakers for subs. Okay. Well, if you do that, then it's just like John, just plug in left and right into these boxes, and then they're just more powerful. And then they plug into the passive speakers. But typically, for typical Tina Marks and the Millionaires, I'm just going to use the passive speakers. They're JBL 722s. They're really good, but they're passive. I need stereo for them, but they're passive. So all I have to do is take the left and right that's going to be here, right for John, and I just take let's say this one, take this out, and I plug it in there, and the other one plug it in there, and now I've connected the 7 and 8 to the stereo power amp, my stereo power amp, for use as mains rather than subs.
And you just don't have subs in that situation.
I don't usually need subs. Bass players loud enough. But if I needed subs for something big, then I would go with this Triumph Doomsday system over here.
Ooh, I like a Doomsday
System.
Any other questions?
Do you know who the first person was to have bus resistance?
What?
Do you know who the first person was to exhibit bus resistance?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. He's got it. He's got it.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, what?
That's pretty far
I
away.
figured it out, but I couldn't remember her name now.
Well,
I had to get past electronics into a dad joke. Civil
so
rights.
that was a dad civil rights joke.
It was.
And those are the best.
Yeah. But yeah, now that you've heard all this, don't you? I think we're going to cut hour and a half off the setup.
You want to go and explain that every single gig, or do you want to do it one time and we easy sail? You know what I mean?
I don't think there's any thinking here.
I know.
Well, there's way less thinking.
Yes.
In terms of the wiring, there's way less thinking, right?
80 minutes.
And
90
we
minutes worth.
now have a better understanding of the X32 user experience, so to speak.
Well,
Yes.
since Lamont was there, how much time do you think we shaved with all this?
The entire conversation that we were having is how much shaved.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm serious.
I think it's at least 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus, I ended up spending 20 minutes trying to figure out how to put that keyboard stand together.
Yeah, and it was right there.
It was right there. It goes inside, not outside. Yeah.
Well,
So-
we just struggled replacing a saw blade, so
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So I think compared to the gig, I'm sure this plus knowing how the keyboard stand, I'm sure I've shaved 2 hours.
So where that actually, for me, where I see that coming into play is the wiring goes way more faster
Fewer mistakes.
with fewer mistakes. The configuration of the X32 is already. Is there a way to save that configuration?
It is saved.
Okay.
Sweet.
I mean, does it have a name?
Well, I can also save it on a thumb drive. I
Yeah.
should do that too.
Yeah.
You should back
I
it
think
up.
that.
And in fact, to add to that, I should have
All
a
the-
setting that's Tina Marks of Millionaires, and a setting that's maybe TNA,
Yeah.
a setting that's
Pixaleen.
Yeah, but all it takes is for one of them to not hit the red button,
Yeah.
and then they start changing things, and then the configuration's different.
So that's kind of where I was going. If the configuration is already there, and Stephanie does the right thing and doesn't mess up her mix, and Tina does the right thing and doesn't mess up her mix,
But John's
and John does the right thing and doesn't mess up his mix. I presume Dave has a mix.
Well, they were sharing the monitor. It's probably enough.
Yeah.
But my intention was there was a monitor for bass and drums, but then John moved that wedge over just for the drums, and he said, I couldn't even hear anything.
Yeah, of course you couldn't.
So, but is he playing through a DI exclusively, or is he playing through an amp?
He has a really high end amp and a DI.
So he has a high-end amp, which gives him monitor volume as well as projection volume.
His DI is mostly so that the girls can hear it in there.
Yeah.
In here, because particularly for Tina, hers is molded. She doesn't hear anything except what goes in electrically.
Yeah. So where I see this becoming useful is nobody's mucked up the configuration, nobody's mucked up the wiring. It's a relaxing procedure.
And we've adjusted it at the last rehearsal.
Yeah, relaxing procedure to get it done, and then you have time for Tina's guitar isn't making any sound. Oh, we need a battery.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, those are things outside of
Yeah,
this.
you'll have time to address the wacky, weird stuff that's almost always happens.
Yeah, but there should be less of it.
But there should be less of it, and you'll have time to deal with it.
It's easier to identify the
Yeah.
point of failure.
Yeah.
instead of having to run
So
around.
one question is this faster or slower than using a 32 channel mixer?
A 32 channel analog mixer.
Yeah, like there's one right there.
Oh, this is
This is
faster.
going to be faster, man. That's
This is
a
faster.
loaded question.
Right.
Yeah,
But
you can't pre-connect the analog mixer.
You got
Yeah, so what school of thought that I think John had that idea, but I think he'll realize that's not the case, is that this is too complicated. Why does it have to be that complicated? I can take my mixer, we plug in and it works. And he was thinking of the jazz thing he does. So Stephanie plugs in and, a little bit more and he's done. It all works.
It's not a full band.
Okay, but then my response, I said,
It's too
we've got 4 stereo keyboards. We got a stereo helix. We got 4 vocals, mics that we were using at a gig. We've got acoustic guitar, Tina's electric guitar, bouzouki, and ukulele.
And ukulele.
I don't think we need all that.
Ukulele needs to be
So that's where you go. If you didn't have all that, you wouldn't need all this, and you could use a regular mixer. That's true. But then you'd be like every other band,
You'd be like
local band.
You'd be like Paul Martin's band, except you'd have good vocals. Or better vocals.
You'd be like
Better
any other
vocals.
local band. This
Their vocals are actually pretty good.
facilitates doing something
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, because you have a special setup.
Now, if I was trying to go
Above and beyond-
I said, Dave, I
above-
wouldn't want to bring this, but I got a Tommy gate on the back of there. You
But-
just lift it up and roll it in, and you're done.
It's something special above and beyond just a normal back line.
Yeah. What do you think of this extender?
Dude, I saw the addition and we just never tore it apart, and I thought it was super badass.
You
man.
see, it clamps
It's just so
on like the other one.
Yeah,
did.
dude, it just comes right
I had to
together.
get 3 sets of clamps. I tried little ones, they didn't work. I
This
tried
is
mediums,
custom.
they didn't work. I sent pictures of these to the manufacturer of this hardware. I said, what the hell are these? Oh, yeah, I remember those. Yeah, so he knew what they were immediately. He sent me a pair of those. It cost me like $20 to ship the damn things every time. They were ripping off on the shipping.
Crazy.
But,
Well, I'm having to put in an extra set of 4x4 timbers for my retaining walls, so
yeah.
There
But,
it is.
when I got the big ones,
It's hopefully no
They
$20
actually work.
shipping. Yeah.
yeah. What you don't know is this was 3 inches, and these big ones would fit. So I had to make it
You had
6.5
cut it
inches.
down.
I added 3.5 inches. But how do you do that to a frame? I had to go into Norm Abram mode and use biscuits.
biscuits,
Yeah.
you don't want to know.
Okay.
You don't want to know. Only biscuits I'm interested in are biscuits and gravy at Mio My Pie and
Yes, sir.
LaPorte.
Okay, that's all the questions, right?
That's all the
Was
questions.
it useful?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Good job. High five. Good job.
High 10.
I think.
Not bad.
Is it still going?
Yeah,
Yep.
the big red